So, you've got a brilliant idea. That's awesome. But here's the tough question. How do you make sure your idea actually makes it? How do you avoid becoming another statistic? Today, we are cracking open the playbook for innovation, combining two incredibly powerful frameworks that, when used together, are a total game changer.
We've all seen it happen, right? A project we were excited about, a startup with a ton of buzz, and then, poof, it just disappears. So what's going on here? Why is it so hard for new ideas to succeed? Let's get into it. 70%. Just let that number sink in for a second. That means 7 out of every 10 projects that get started just don't deliver what they promised. And this isn't just a case of bad luck. It points to something much bigger, a broken process. We're often building things the wrong way from the very beginning.
This quote absolutely nails it. The old way of doing things, writing a massive 100-page business plan, doing endless market analysis, and building in secret for a year, that just doesn't work anymore. The world moves too fast. That traditional playbook is a roadmap to failure in a world filled with uncertainty. So what's the alternative?
Well, this is where our first hero enters the story. Let's call this hero the empath. You probably know it by its other name, design thinking. And its superpower, it's all about finding the right problem to solve by truly, deeply understanding the people you're trying to help.
Design thinking completely flips the script. You know that old saying, build it and they will come? Yeah, this is the exact opposite. It's about figuring out what people genuinely need and want before you even think about building the solution. It's about starting with human needs, not with a piece of technology.
And this is the empath's toolkit. Now, don't let this neat, linear-looking diagram fool you. In the real world, this process is messy, it's iterative, and you'll be jumping back and forth between these stages all the time. And that's where the magic happens.
So it all starts with empathy. You're basically walking a mile in your user's shoes. Then you take everything you've learned and define the core problem you're going to tackle. After that, it's time to ideate. This is the fun part, brainstorming all sorts of wild solutions. You take the most promising ideas and build simple, low-cost prototypes. And then you test them with real users. The best part? What you learn in testing almost always sends you back to an earlier step to refine your thinking. It's this beautiful cycle of constant learning and discovery.
So at its heart, the empath's job is simple but crucial. Find a real, meaningful problem that's actually worth solving. But, okay, once you found that problem, now what? How do you actually build the solution?
And that brings us to our second hero, the scientist. You might know this one as the lean startup methodology. The scientist's superpower is building the solution in a smart, efficient way by treating every step like a carefully controlled experiment.
The scientist lives by a simple mantra: build, measure, learn. It's a feedback loop. You build a small piece of your idea, you measure how people react to it with real data, and then you learn from that data whether you're on the right track or if you need to change course. It's all about replacing guesswork, the I think statements, with real evidence, the I know statements. Think of it as the total opposite of that grand reveal we talked about. Instead of disappearing into a cave for a year to build the perfect product, you build what's called a minimum viable product, or MVP. It's the simplest, most bare-bones version of your idea that you can get out into the world to start learning from real customers as quickly as possible. So, let's recap. We have the empath, the master of finding the right problem, and we have the scientist, the expert at building the right solution. You can probably see where this is going. What happens when these two heroes team up? Well, you get an absolute powerhouse. These two methodologies aren't rivals competing for your attention. They're the ultimate innovation dream team. When the empath and the scientist join forces, you get something truly special. The synergy here is incredible. You're combining deep human insight with fast scientific experimentation. This ensures you're actually solving a problem people care about before you go and spend a ton of time and money building the full solution. It's all about failing fast and failing cheap, which creates this amazing culture of continuous learning and improvement. And hey, this isn't just a nice theory I'm telling you about. It's actually backed up by a growing body of research. Multiple studies have shown that when you integrate these two approaches, you get leaner, more user-centered business models, and just plain better outcomes all around. Okay, so what does this all mean for you and your next big idea? Well, it's about building things people will actually love and use, without burning through all your resources in the process. Take a look at this chart. It's kind of a horror story for anyone who's ever built a product. It shows that fixing a problem in the early design phase is cheap,
But fixing that same exact problem after the product is launched, the cost explodes exponentially. This is the pay me now or pay me later principle in action. And our two heroes, the empath and the scientists, are experts at finding and fixing those million-dollar mistakes when they only cost a few bucks.
And it's not just about saving money. It's about generating incredible returns. When IBM fully embraced design thinking, they saw a staggering 301% return on their investment. How? It's simple, really. They stopped wasting time and money building the wrong things and started focusing on what their users actually needed. So here it is, your playbook. It's simple. Start with empathy. Use the empath to find the right problem. Then, build to learn. Use the scientist to build the right solution. Put together teams with different skills and perspectives. And most importantly, embrace failure. Failure isn't the opposite of success. It's a critical part of the process. It's about failing fast, failing cheap, and always, always failing forward.
So the next time you're staring down the uncertainty of a new idea, ask yourself, are you going to rely on an old, broken map? Or are you ready to assemble your dream team, your empath and your scientist, and give your idea the heroic journey it deserves?